nothing too hectic. It's just a continuation from yesterday. So yesterday was Flexbox, which I think if you go to can I show the Git? No, not the Git, sorry. The Slack. Yes, sorry. My mind is going 200 miles per hour. Okay. So if you go to the coding group, yeah. So if you go to this one, yes, you'll see the code here from yesterday, which is the display flex. That's up to you, Salim. I'll help you after this lesson. Won't be long. So today we're continuing from yesterday, but instead of doing flex, oh, sorry. Instead of doing flex, we are doing grid. Okay. So this time we'll just create a div. Okay. So I create a div right there.
Should we copy?
If you can keep up, but if you can't, then you can always do it after lesson. Yes. So if you
But
can
I
keep
cannot
up,
do it after the lesson.
oh, really? Okay. I'll go really slowly just for you, Salim. Okay, I'll go really slowly so you can copy. Okay. I hope you can hear me. All right. So, sorry. Okay, here we go. So I'll start again. So I'll create a div tag. So I'll make it a bit bigger. Sorry. There we go. So I'll go div. Okay. And I want to give it a class called grid, grid. So I'll go div dot grid like this, okay? And then I'll press the tab key, the tab, to create that, okay? So instead of going div tab and then going class equals grid, you can just simply specify the element, okay? Audrey, come on. All right. Can you hear me now? Okay. What do you mean louder? Okay, can you hear me now?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm having to. I have to eat my mic now.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll do it again. So div, okay, dot grid. So grid is the class, div is the element, and if you press the tab key, we'll create that. Okay, cool. So let's do something very basic. Let's create six boxes. All right. So let's just go div. In fact, let's use a span tag. All right. Enough of these div tags. Let's use a span tag. All right. So let's go SPAN. All right. Oh, yes, Salim. I can see your hand is up.
Can I share my screen?
Sure. You can share your screen. Salim, you there? Hello. I don't know. All right. I'll continue. Someone please let me know when she gets back. Okay. All right. So yeah, so I'll do 6 span tags. And if you remember from yesterday, we did a fun little math thing in VS Code. So we go span, SPAN, A-N. And then I'll go shift number 8 to get the asterisk. Okay, the asterisk is just basically multiplication. All right. And let's give it the number 6. Okay, so span, shift number 8, and then the number 6. And then we press the tab key. We can create 6 span tags. All right. So there you go. I'll delete this and I'll do it again. All right. So imagine we want to create 2 span tags, right? We go SPAN, all right? Press the shift key and number 8 and press the number 2 and then press tab. So effectively you can generate code quickly without typing it, okay? So in this instance, we've done 2, but remember we wanted to have 6. So I'll just do span, shift number 8 to get the asterisk, and then go number 4 because 2 plus 4 will give it 6. All right, so we get that. Okay, cool. Right. I'll also show you another shortcut because imagine we want to, you know, type numbers in here like 1 and then go down here and press 1 again. It's not fun, is it? Okay. So what you can do is on your keyboard, for you folks at home. So on your keyboard, you'll press 2 keys, right? The Alt key and I believe the Shift key. Okay. So let me try it and see if I'm right. No, that's not it. So it would be cool. So it's the Alt, A-L-T, and the Control key. So C-T-R-L. So the A-L-T and the C-T-R-L keys. And then you'll push the up arrow like so. Okay. To highlight all those lines. And then just press the number 1 like that. Okay. I'll do it again. So your cursor is here, right? It's flashing. Just click in between the last span tag, okay? And then press and hold the Alt and the Control key. And then push on the up arrow to fill in the rest of the span tags. And then press the number 1 like that. All right. And if we come back here, sorry, I'll get rid of this. There we go. Now we've got our lovely 6 span tags. Okay. There we go. So we'll start very simple. We want to do a 3x2 grid. So we want to do 3 columns and 2 rows. Okay. That's our first initiative. Then I'll let you guys for the rest of the lesson. I'll ask you to do a 2x3 or a 6x1 or 2x4. It'll make sense. It'll make sense once we start working on it. Okay. All right. So this is our container. This is our parent container, which is class grid. Okay. It's a div tag with a class grid. Now, if you remember from yesterday's lesson, I mentioned if you want to do CSS in Chrome. Okay, so let me close this. So your screen probably looks like this. Just right click and then go inspect. Okay. And then I don't know if you can see my mouse, but you can move your mouse to the very end of this toolbar here. So you got network, sources, console, elements. Then there's this thing here, which is like a laptop and a phone. Just skip that and go to this little arrow here, okay? It might look different, but you'll have something here. So you just click that and then you'll hover over there so you can see which element you want to look at. So you can click either one. So it just takes you straight to this, okay? And let's click on the div tag with class grid. So let's click that. All right. So you'll create a selector for us here. Okay. And then let's do display, because yesterday we did display flex for flexibility, but today we're doing a grid where we tell it how many columns we want. All right. So let's go display, and then let's go display grid this time. Now, before I go further, are you guys able to read my screen, or are the letters too small?
We can read it, sir.
You can read it? Okay, thank you. Yeah, if at any point you struggle to read what I'm typing, please let me know. I can always adjust and make it big. All right. But thank you for that feedback. So display grid, perfect. So now our items are stacked, but this is not what we want. We want our elements to be in a grid. Now, I'm pretty sure all you guys know what a grid is, okay? So it would look something like this, all right? So this is a grid. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is like a 6x6 grid, which will give us 36 squares, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Yeah. So we want to do something like this, and it's just another way. You can either do display flex, or you can do display grid. I'll just show you both ways, and then you can choose which way you prefer to do it. Okay. So yesterday, if you remember, we went display flex on the parent, but then we had to do flex 1, 0 auto on the children. Well, fortunately for grid, we don't have to do any of that. With grid, we go display grid, and then underneath that, there's another property, okay, which is called grid dash template columns. Okay, so this is like a CSS property which can handle how many columns you want in your grid. Okay, and then it takes a value of a function. So if you remember from JavaScript, we did functions. CSS also has functions, but you don't have to worry too much. You can just copy now, and then I'll explain later. Okay, so we go repeat. Okay, so we go repeat, and then we open those round brackets. All right, so grid template columns, colon, repeat. Repeat is the function. Okay, and it takes two arguments or two inputs. So the first input is how many columns do you want to do? Now, if you remember when we first started this, I think we wanted to do a 3x3 grid, okay? So let's go number 3, okay? Because we want 3 columns. Remember, these are columns we're defining here. Here we go, comma, 1FR. Okay. So 1FR, the second argument here is it's just telling CSS we want everything to be of equal width, of equal height. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Literally, we've created a grid with 2 lines versus display flex, which took like 10, 15 lines. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. Display flex versus display grid, so you can choose which way you want to do things. All right, so you can even go further and select the div tag here, and then click plus, and then go space, and then span tag. Right, so you can go span. I'm feeling jovial. Queen, sorry, could you please give us a color that you like, for example?
So I like brown.
Brown. Okay, thank you. All right, so you go. So we go brown. Okay. Now it's all sticking together here. It doesn't seem to be different. And there's a way to change that. All right. So there's an extra line of code which I'll show you. So in your grid, in the div class grid here, you see how we've got our CSS down here, right? Underneath grid template columns, just enter another property called gap, G-A-P, okay? Or you can go column gap, it's up to you, but I would say do gap because it affects both the height and the width of the span tags. I just say gap. I don't know why I did that. Now, let's just say 10 pixels, 10 px, for example. You see, it's spaced out the span tags. You can even make this like 2 pixels. You know, the smaller the number, the smaller the gap. So 1 pixel there. If you go 30 pixels, obviously it's going to get, you know, really hideous. But it's up to you. For me, I'll keep it at 5 pixels, maybe 2. Sorry. Okay. And yeah, I can see Salim is joining back in, which is good. Now, with our span tag, we want to center a text. Salim, welcome back. Do you still want to share your screen?
No, now I'm connected in my mom's phone because the laptop, I'm trying to charge it, but the
Yeah.
charger is not working. So I cannot connect.
Oh, sorry. So the battery for the laptop died.
Yeah, because the now the battery, now the charger for the laptop is not working.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. You didn't miss much anyway. We basically did like 5 lines of code versus yesterday when we did 15 or 20. So display grid is definitely easy, very easy to do. You'll see it's very easy. Then we'll go color white here, so we just give it a contrast. Yeah, there you go. So this is how you do display grid. Now I will copy this to my CSS, but then I will ask each of you except Salim individually to participate. Like I would say, how do you think we can do a 4x1 grid or a 2x3 grid, or you know, whatever comes to mind? Okay. So let me just quickly paste this into my CSS like so. So we don't lose it. All right. So let me just go copy. I'll paste it here. Okay. All right. So we'll go from bottom to top. So we'll go Seth. Queen's already given us a contribution, so that's all right. So Seth, my friend, how are you?
Sound good, and you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Now, based on what we just did, using grid template columns, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, how do you think we can go about doing a 2 columns, 3 rows grid? Do you have any idea based on this code here?
I think 45.
45. Okay. Where do I type 45? On the template columns or on the gap?
Or on the template column.
Okay, so let's go 45. All right, so let's go 45. Oh, that's killed it. But I like how you know where to go. So I'll specify this again, all right? Just to teach you guys. So the hint is in the name of the property. It says grid template columns. So any number that you put here will give you the number of columns that you want. So you see how I've got repeat 1 as the first one, right? So you're always going to have 1 column. That's why these span tags are like stacked on top of each other. Now, if I change this to 2, we get the 2x3 because we've got 2 columns, as in we've got this side and then we got this side. Okay. And let's go 3. Same thing. Now we've got 1, 2, 3. And then if we go 4, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The same thing. We go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you guys understand the concept, or does anyone want me to re-explain that?
I don't understand.
You don't understand it. No. Salim, do you play with puzzles? Do you play with puzzles at all, or anything to do with squares, shapes?
I don't play with puzzles.
It was going to be easy to explain it. So what we're doing here, we're learning how to make something called a grid. Now, a grid is just basically how you want to display your information. So a clear example, we'll use the images from yesterday, okay? So we'll use the images from yesterday. So let's quickly go back to our code, right? I'll go image grid. Okay, now you guys are going to participate with me on this, right? I'll ask you questions and then you can give me the answer and then we can do it together, okay? All right, so let's go image. How many images do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There are 5
Six.
images.
6, 6,
Oh, yeah.
6. Yeah, because park is underneath the index. So let's go img times 6 to create 6 images, okay? Like this. And then, yeah, there we go. So I'm hoping we're correct. And then I'll do that trick I showed you again where you can select multiple lines using Control and Alt, or Alt and Control. It doesn't matter which way you press it, but just go Alt and Control and then the up arrow like this. And then you can delete most of that. Okay. So I'll do the baby.jpg, basketball. Yep. Dog. So Salim chose the dog for us yesterday. Okay. Sorry, don't know what happened there. JPG. Football. I think football was Leon. And then girl fashion was Audrey, as always. And then Park, I think, was, can't remember who Park was, but that's okay. Right. So as always, we always laugh at this big nose because this is what Queen likes looking at. Baby noses, baby nostrils are like so big. Look at that. Look at the eye. Come on. Look at this. It's a big eye. And then obviously you've got the basketball player here with the ball. Yeah, there you go. And you've got the dog with the glasses. Thank you, Salim, for that selection. Very sassy. Then you got the football. Then you've got the girl fashion. That was Audrey. And then I think you've got the park here, which is very peaceful. Now, we can't see our images because they're all over the place, okay? Now, there's a trick to it. There's a trick to fix it. If you want your images to be constrained, to be in a good shape, in a good size, every time you have a CSS file, okay? So for instance, I'll just go image, right? I'll just go plus to get the image. Just change it to width 100%. That's all you have to do. Yes, Salim. Yes, I can see your hand. What is your question, my friend?
My hand.
Hello. Yeah, I can see your hand. It's like you raised your hand in the chat.
No, I didn't.
You see, if you look at there's like a palm in the chat. I thought that was you raising your hand.
It's not me, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all right. Sorry. So yeah, like, sorry, back to what I was saying. So let me refresh the page so you can see. So you see how these images are like too big, right? So it's very simple to fix them in CSS. All you do is you just go IMG, okay, in your CSS, and then go width 100%. So that way, even if you change the size of your screen, your image is always within the bounds of that screen, okay? So that's a good fix. So I'll take that to our CSS file. I'll right click and copy, and I'll go into a CSS file and I'll paste it. Sorry, I just saw someone writing a comment. I'll have a look now. Oh yeah, Park was said. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that reminder, Salim. Right. Now, sorry. Every time I see this baby face, I'm gonna laugh. Okay, you have to forgive me. It's just too adorable. All right.
Slash cute.
Yeah, see, even Queen's like it's too cute. Come on. Right. So now, because I think we all like Instagram a bit. No, I hope so. Let's work together here. How are we going to create a 3x2 grid of these images?
What do you mean? Me, I
We're
don't.
going we're going to use display grid to make the images into a grid. It will make sense if you watch it. If I try and explain it, it won't make sense. Yeah, it will make sense after this if you watch it. So, Salim, you don't have to answer this one since you're not understanding it, but I'll ask Audrey how we can go about this one. Okay. All right. So yeah, what do we do, Audrey?
So I think we do the grid template column thing.
All right. So we go display grid, yes. And you said we do grid template columns, yes? Yep.
They said 3 what?
3x2, I believe. So
Uh,
3 columns, 2 rows.
so I think 2.
Yeah. So repeat, yeah.
Sorry.
Repeat. So 2, yeah. Comma.
Is it 1?
1. Yeah, 1 FR. There you
So
go.
what does the 1 FR mean?
So 1 FR, it just means that everything in the grid has like a how can I put it? Let me Google it. It's hard for me to explain, but let me Google it for you. So CSS grid, grid 1 FR. Okay. So 1 FR is like an FR unit, but part of the whole as long as the content inside the row is flexible. Right. So 1 FR just says that the content in the grid, it's always going to be its own size in a sense. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. So, for example, you see this image, right? See how the dog from Salem is the height is shorter than, the picture for the girl fashion or the park. Yeah. So the 1 FR means that this image is going to be tall according to its original size, whereas these ones will be short according to their own size. Yeah. Yeah.
So why is the note here next to
Why
the
is there not what?
not picture next to the basketball thing?
Oh, because if you remember, the baby goes before basketball. So the basketball dude has got the taller picture here. You see? So good question. Good question. This is where we then, play around with our dimensions to try and get things working. So what we do next, so you remember how we went image is with 100%, right? We want to manipulate the height. So the width is going from left to right. Okay. So width is like me going from here to there. Okay. But right now we want to change from here to down here. You see? So what we'll do is we'll go height and it will give it 300 pixels, I think. Yeah, that's too big. So let's go 200. Okay. And then there's another CSS property called object fit, because you want your images not to be stretched like this. You want them to look nice. Okay. So you go object fit, and then you can either go contain or cover. All right. So it scales nicely. And then you go object position. You want to bottom center it, left it, or top it, right it. It's up to you, but I would say stick to center. And Bob's your uncle, like that. You see?
So please explain from object
Eh.
fit.
all right. Before I explain it, Salim, do you understand what we were trying to do with the display grid? When we show these images like this, do you understand why we're learning grid when we show these images like this?
No.
No?
Because
Okay.
I didn't hear everything.
Oh, sorry. All right. I'll try and go slowly, but I'll answer Audrey now. So Audrey saying my accent's too heavy, so she didn't hear the object fit part. Okay. So
He's so
So-
fun.
so okay. So you see how this image is like stretched? It doesn't look nice. It looks a bit long. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So the problem with that is we don't want the pictures to look like this. So what we do is CSS gives us something called an object fit. It's almost like when you buy clothes, right? If you buy something that's really baggy, it's going to be overhanging. Like you're going to look really small in a very oversized shirt, right? So you buy something that fits you. Okay. So in this instance, think of us making the image fit to the part of the grid. Okay. So right now I can change this to like 100 pixels. It's still going to look, you see how the basketball one looks flat now? It doesn't look, yeah. So to compensate for that, we use something called object fit, right? And then there's two options. You can, three actually. So you can go contain, which squishes the image, or you can go cover, which fills up the entire space, or fill. You see, fill doesn't look good because the basketball guy's flat. So you go cover, right? It's kind of like a book cover. Think of it like that. All right. And then you have another property called object position. So you've done the object fitting, but now you want to position it. So you can either go bottom, all right? So if you look at the basketball